Hello, my name is Carrie Bodle, and I'm very excited to present my project. I am presenting an artist talk today on an in-progress work, SeaCycles. Since 2005, I've been engaged with processes that translate data sets into audible and visible patterns. Through the translation of inaudible or invisible phenomena that exist on a micro or macro scale, I am interested in the mediation of the natural world through data streams and how artworks offer an open-ended approach to how we interface and understand the world around us. My artworks take the form of installations, soundscapes, objects, images, and perhaps allowing for a deeper experience and direct interpretation of natural phenomena that otherwise goes unnoticed. This creates a new aesthetic form of listening, experiencing, and looking at the world around us that transcends media conventions. SeaCycles is an immersive augmented reality experience responding to patterns of change in the ecology of the Puget Sound, which is in the Seattle area in the US region, which marks a continuation of my artwork's sonification listening up and wavelines. Sonification Listening Up was a large-scale public art project at MIT in collaboration with the MIT Haystack Observatory. It was a site-specific project on Building 54 on the MIT campus. Speakers broadcast audio representations of sound waves embedded in the Earth's ionosphere, which were captured right above the site of the installation, and use sound as representation of research at MIT, extending to the public what is normally invisible. 35 channels of sound that were temporarily installed across Building 54's facade spoke to the public about research happening within. Wavelines continued my investigation in translating scientific data in visualization and sonification and was a collaboration with UW oceanographic scientist Dr. Neil Banas. The project used data from the ecosystem models from the Washington coast to create a multimodal experience of art through 6 channels of video and 5 channels of audio installation. In Wavelines, it was also about creating kind of this merge between the digital and material artifacts, as you can see here, large semi-transparent projection screens and 5 channels of sonified data engaged viewers and listeners with reference to underlying systems of data. SeaCycles engages the audience in a direct experience to consider the elaborate network of ecological activity in Puget Sound in the context of the social and urban environment of the city of Seattle. Puget Sound has a fascinating geography with dynamic tidal patterns, salination, biological systems, and the augmented reality experience seeks to establish connections between scientific research that generates data sets that track change over time as a unit of analysis, and translates this into visual augmented reality elements that blends viewers' experience of looking at the ocean with the experience of the changing data in space and time. I'm intrigued by the translation of data streams into sensible systems as interrogative practice with technology, as art historian Caroline Jones calls this in her taxonomy of relations between contemporary art and technology. Just as the data captures inaudible or invisible phenomena that exist on a micro or macro scale, the translation of this data as sonification and visualization represents the relationships that can be experienced at the human scale as sound, image, or object. This experience leads to inquiry and interpretation in the individual voice of the listener-viewer. It is not my intent to form a statement with this translation from data into sound and visualization, but to invite for an open interpretation of phenomena made sensible in the listener-viewer's experience the passage through the installation space during its duration. As symbiotic imaginaries, SeaCycles and wavelines connect micro and macro scales and reveal the interdependencies of the various constituents that make up the ecosystem of Puget Sound and the coastline of Washington State. Wavelines engages viewers and listeners to experience the intricate overlay of 5 dimensions of data, making the oceanographic data streams relatable to the human scale. SeaCycles looks at these ecosystem patterns of the ocean as mutually interdependent symbiotic form. The project draws attention to a bigger framework, not only just in scale, but as a systems level, beyond human-centered views. Choosing these larger frameworks, I aim to de-emphasize the role that humans play, and in this way I take a post-humanist perspective of subject and context in my site-specific installation. In Staying with the Trouble, Making Ken in the Thylacine, Donna Haraway characterizes our role and response to the current era of the Anthropocene as stewards to ensure it lasts as short as possible and migrate human-centered views to more integrated forms of human, non-human, and environmental coexistence in what she calls the Thylacine, the period following the Anthropocene. This departure from post-humanism is defined by new perspectives that go beyond human-centered interest in the human individual and instead establishes collaborative and mutual forms of understanding that might render a worldview that centers on the sensorium of all human and non-human beings. New forms of representation provide us with deeper understanding of the world around us and alternatives to ways to engage with it. I encountered the possibilities of this representational space in my installation, Sonification Listening Up, where sounds represented the tracking of ion concentrations in the upper atmosphere in relation to particle emittance from solar winds and were mapped across the facade of a translator, Building 54, which is the Earth and Planetary Science building on the MIT campus. In its essence, the project relates changes in the upper atmosphere to viewers, listeners, and provides them with a glimpse into the larger system that form the key conditions for all life on this planet. My work with the ocean and wavelines is motivated in similar ways, capturing the relationship between zooplankton and phytoplankton as an indicator for the health of the ocean ecosystem. This interrogates the intricate relationship between other life forms as a foundation for the stability of an ecosystem that sustains the conditions for all human and non-human beings. How does this experience lead to new interpretations of our shared world? As I further develop SeaCycles, several interesting prospects of augmented reality for art, video, and sound installation emerge. Visual AR elements overcome conventional video projection limitations. This includes transparent, non-material projection screen layers that viewers can pass through. Video projection as video display in AR can be precisely anchored in a specific position of the exhibition space. AR video display doesn't produce overcast through screens in a layered multi-channel projection arrangement. This makes it possible to create transparent, layered projections that viewers can pass through. AR audio volumes can be associated with the projection display, fusing sound and projection areas. AR audio can be contained with precise boundary boxes. This makes it possible to isolate and contain the sound in a specific area while maintaining visual transparency and allow listeners to walk through the bounding box limit, something that is very difficult to achieve in a physical sound installation. As a mixed AR physical installation in the gallery setting or realized as a site-specific installation, SeaCycles will provide a collaborative experience where multiple viewers can experience the same AR space at the same time. My aim is to encourage dialogue at the encounter in the shared experience space. SeaCycles employs new representational forms in a mixed AR physical installation format to lead us into both the micro and macro scale of the ocean ecosystem in a site-specific context. As in my previous large-scale installations, my aim is to relate audiences to a larger-scale phenomena outside human-centric views, aligning it with post-humanist perspectives that shift the focus from the individual to larger, encompassing ecosystems that are in constant flux and oscillate between moments of stability and collapse. In doing so, it is my intent to reveal the fragility of the current moment and the realization of what it means to witness and cohabitate in our shared world. The result can be new interpretation of the data patterns and their social and environmental context, raising the question of what our role is in response. Thank you.